After years of pre-release hype and all sorts of thoughts as to just how politicized Ubisoft were going to make their American-themed Far Cry, the reality is a game that throws a whole load of ideas at the wall with a good handful of them sticking. Is it an on-point dissection of historical issues that still divide race and culture in the West to this day? How about a comment on the idea of religious extremism building inside an otherwise freedom-loving society? Or is it just about clearing out outposts full of goons with a bear-cold cheeseburger? The answer to that is that it's all three of these things and more, but to different degrees. The story of Joseph Seed's cult uprising immediately puts your no-named rookie on the back foot, setting you up against the rest of the Seed family in a three-area structure that lets you tackle everything in whichever order you fancy. It's certainly got a lot of people talking, but to get the most out of Far Cry 5, you really need to know it inside out. I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and this is Far Cry 5, 10 tips and tricks the game doesn't tell you. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to stay notified. Ding, ding, done. Number 10, you can stealth kill from a parachute drop. Hands down the most fun way to make an entrance if you're approaching an outpost, simply fly over an enemy and when directly above them, hold square or X to enter into a standard drop animation. Leaping off buildings or any other parts of the environment onto enemies triggers this too, but providing you're not too high up, you can go from wingsuit to parachute and into stealth kill all in one swift motion. Number 9, Boomer can scan any enemy area in one go. Now, the game does state that Boomer's special ability is a radial scan for nearby enemies, but there's a much better way to use this than just waiting for enemies to pop up in your vision cone. Instead of waiting for your view to populate, zoom in using binoculars or any weapon sight and look to the other side of whichever outpost or area you're about to conquer. Tap the D-pad direction you've got Boomer assigned to and set him off wandering through the base. Think of your waypoint like a straight line that Boomer's radial awareness zone will travel down and try to plot a course through the center of any given space. Before long, you'll see all enemies start to show up, and if it feels like any are missing, get some height with a different angle and try again. Boomer is the only companion who doesn't trigger enemies, meaning you can take your time and scout an entire zone before making your killing sweep. Number 8, spray bullets at vehicles to kill drivers without aiming. Far Cry 5's vehicle shooting is some of the most accessible in gaming, and though its auto-aiming headshots are extremely generous even at top speeds, the game gives you another huge benefit of the doubt on foot as well. Literally, just spray any van or truck, pretty much any enemy vehicle, from any angle, and the driver will fall out as if you've targeted them specifically. You'll need this when freeing prisoners or fulfilling faith story missions where multiple vehicles need to be taken down, so don't wait for that perfect shot to line up. Quite blatantly, just spray and don't worry about praying. Number 7, use Grace to easily snipe helicopter and plane pilots. Speaking of helping hands, Ubisoft not only added MGS5's D-Dog in the form of Boomer, but Quiet in the form of Grace, the latter of which never misses a shot once she's lined up. Simply tap whichever D-pad direction Grace is assigned to when aiming at an enemy or even livestock, and within seconds they'll be taken out. That said, did you know that you can use Grace to down planes and helicopters as well? The game is pretty generous with its auto-aim if you unload a few rounds towards any airborne vehicles yourself, but target the pilot and tell Grace to take the shot, and then you can watch as they take a swift nosedive into a nearby canyon. Grace never misses. Number 6, perk points go across arcade and campaign. Far Cry Arcade will no doubt reach its full potential in the coming weeks and months, as it truly is one of the coolest ideas Ubisoft have ever had. Being able to combine level assets from a huge array of Ubisoft properties to make custom levels, deathmatches, and even walking simulator-esque environmental treks, it's worth noting that any time you spend in here will transfer over to the campaign. The Super Mario Maker-style solo missions are a great way to experiment with a variety of weapons if you want to rack up any equipment-specific kills, and players are already designing areas with hundreds of targets so you can blast through them fast. Perk points give everything from additional weapon slots to chain kills and better health, so whenever taking over an outpost or coming across an arcade machine, make sure to use it. Number 5, use binoculars to see enemies through walls. Whether intentional or not, Far Cry 5's enemy detection algorithm will trigger even if an opponent isn't in full view. In fact, it'll show their full red outline through a wall or across the other side of a building, providing you're looking in the right direction. Now, this doesn't seem to be the case with weapons, though aiming at a Peggy will add them to your view if they're close enough. Still, if you find yourself being spotted by some unknown assailant lost amongst the wilderness or from somewhere inside an encampment, bring up your binoculars and sniff them out. Number 4, the secret to selling animal skins for the most cash. It can be mighty tempting to lob explosives at any high-value animal target. Far Cry 5 certainly lines up all sorts of demonic moose and, I quote, drugged up super bears, but whatever you do, don't blow them up. Doing so will only result in damaged skins, the same as in Far Cry's past, and there is a secret method to use instead. Basically, you want to weaken the creatures as much as possible using gunfire, but not enough to kill them. As long as the final blow comes from an arrowhead, or funnier yet, a haymaker, you'll get an animal skin in perfect condition. It means you can get away with plugging a good few rounds into that illustrious black bear charging at you from between the trees, but still get away away with the best reward in the end. Number 3, use drugs for huge health boosts. In the game, not in real life. Far Cry 5's health system is pretty awful. Once predicated on establishing a you against the world mentality across the original game, its spin-offs, and Far Cry 2, we've now got an increasingly anarchic sensibility with explosions, car chases, and gunfire, where the health bar that dwindles in around 3 shots. To remedy this, you can unlock 2 health boosts inside the perks menu, but to be honest, I barely saw any improvement in the firefights themselves. Instead, keep an eye out for lupine, lettuce, and oil, as combining these together in the crafting menu gives access to a sizable damage reduction buff. Also note the ability to make other potions that grant super strength, faster movement, and auto animal tracking, but this is the one that lets you enjoy the game's most overblown moments without the screen going black and white or you having to hide behind cover until your health comes back. Number 2, shoot and auto-target with any weapon while parachuting. Far Cry 5's auto-targeting in vehicles is a godsend, but it also comes into play when parachuting. Though you might not be used to triggering a parachute until you're much closer to the ground, because let's face it, wingsuiting around the place is way more fun, know that tapping the right trigger will pull out your last used weapon even in mid-air. On top of this, the in-vehicle auto-lock still applies, and you can rain down hell from above using any machine gun, rocket launcher, or anything else. The lock-on does all the heavy lifting, leaving you free to find a place to land and continue the action on foot. And number 1, get the AI to drive while you mop up VIP targets. Okay, look, so the AI in Far Cry isn't the most reliable, but it's better than nothing. Especially if you just want to set a waypoint on some faraway mission marker and let them do the rest. Just get into any seat and your AI will hop in the driver's chair. Granted, you need to have one of the human companions recruited, as lamentably Cheeseburger and Peaches can't drive, but once they're locked in, just click in the left stick and you'll be driven or flown to your destination. Now, there is a chance that the AI will make a beeline for the nearest river, but if not, you can use this freed up sense of being a moving turret to take down any roadside targets. VIPs and hostages are frequently set up to make you slow down and help out when driving, so firing off a few shots on the move means you'll rank up a hefty amount of XP towards whichever one of the seeds you're currently taking down.
Hey guys, thanks for making it to the end of the video. Aren't you a star? Don't forget to subscribe below, and also the people who made this video, they're right here, so go and follow them and give them some love. If you want to see more content, there's probably some stuff flowing up above my head. Why not check it out? It could be fun. I'm not your dad.